It's not going to be easy to find. I wish I could say that you could go out there and easily find this. Like I said, you had to be watching Right Side Broadcasting Network even to see the press conference in Pennsylvania last week. But at this press conference, a gentleman named Gregory Strenstrom spoke. He said he's from Delaware County. He's a former commanding officer in the Navy, a veteran of foreign wars. He's now the CEO of his own private company. He's a data scientist, a forensic computer scientist, and an expert in security and fraud. And among other things, he talked about the chain of custody issues that we've mentioned here, including the fact that 47 of these USB drives have gone missing. Now, let's hear from him. Just a short clip here. Let's hear.
What I saw there was a chain of custody in all cases that was broken. It was broken for the mail-in ballots, the Dropbox ballots, the Election Day USB V-card flash drives. In all cases, the chain of custody and the procedures that were defined by the Delaware County Board of Elections and Election Process Review they didn't follow one. I couldn't even redline this multi-page document because the entire document would be, they didn't follow any of the procedures.
So what he was sharing there, that document
was a chain of custody
is, the procedures that they were supposed to be following. And what he's saying is they didn't follow any of those procedures. Not only did they change the procedures, but they didn't follow any of the ones that they had in place. Now, this is a more interesting clip than that one was, although that one was interesting. This is another Department of Defense, former DoD cyber warfare specialist, and I believe he signed the redacted declaration that supports the Sidney Powell, Georgia lawsuit. But I want you to hear this portion of this clip. It's fascinating. Listen to what he says very carefully.
Good afternoon, Senator, Colonel, and gentlemen, ladies. My name is Phil Waldron. I'm a retired Army colonel, 30 years. Spent the first half of my career, just like Colonel Mastriano here, as a cavalry officer conducting armed reconnaissance, counter-reconnaissance. Last half of my career spent in information warfare as a psychological operations officer and information operations officer, conducted computer network operations, electronic warfare, special electronic warfare, deception, counter-deception, and OPSEC, and a couple other specialties.
Sir, sorry.
You still got a Stetson and Spurs. So I spent all of my time as an operations officer. My perspective looking at this problem set is how to break in, how to break it, how to destroy it, how to manipulate it. And my team has been researching this specific issue since August, but we're working with another team that's been intently working on this problem set, the voting machine manipulation, for 2 years, since the Ted Cruz and Beto race in Texas in 2018 and the Kentucky governor's race, where there were significant anomalies observed. And I'd like to add that there are many, many more teams like ours, small teams that are joined in this fight, and they're throwing the flag left and right. So there's a lot of folks who are recognizing anomalies. The voting systems in the U.S. And in Pennsylvania were built to be manipulated. They've been used in elections around the world and stolen elections around the world in Venezuela, Italy, Argentina, Singapore, Bolivia as close as 2 weeks ago.
Listen.
The Philadelphia uses ES&S, Pittsburgh uses Dominion, other counties in Pennsylvania use Dominion and other systems. So what's the real deal? So all of these election systems have a common DNA. SGO Smartmatic sold Sequoia voting systems to Dominion in 2010. And then the Diebold company spun off Premier Election Systems to Dominion as a result of an antitrust suit. So the bottom line is that these systems have similar code and similar functions. And just so you know, I know there have been statements to the contrary, but I personally debriefed the son of a Cuban intelligence officer who had firsthand knowledge of
Listen to this.
Hugo Chavez's family members who told him not to worry about the populist threat against Maduro's election in Venezuela, quote unquote, that it was guaranteed. Their father invested the money to build the SGO voting machine system. So I have no reason to doubt this gentleman. He's sworn an affidavit to this effect. But that's the root of the SGO voting machines. So these systems are not what you've been told. They are connected to the internet and servers outside of the U.S. They're connected from top to the bottom in the middle. There is no transparency, as our previous witnesses mentioned, as to how the voter information is processed, how and where it's stored. The voting record is able to be modified and or deleted by operators, administrators, and outside threats. Operators can assign votes for write-in ballots, blank ballots, or error ballots in large numbers so that they can be directed toward one candidate or another at the operator's or supervisor's discretion. And many experts have published how easily these machines can be hacked to manipulate votes. As a matter of fact, one of our white hat hackers previously discovered a malware that's present on the servers that captures every login and every password of every operator down to the precinct level that logs into one of these systems. It's just like giving the password to your bank account out, putting it on the dark web. It's not going to be there very long. And just so you probably are all aware, on 30 September, an election storage facility was robbed in your state. 30 USB devices were stolen and a laptop.
In Pennsylvania.
Those USB devices more than likely had encryption devices. And you've just heard another previous witness talk about the non-standard use of the USB storage devices. So these systems, in a nutshell, allow authorized and unauthorized users to cancel votes, shift votes, preload votes, vote blank ballots, all in real time and in large numbers. They're connected.
Think about that. He was going to say they're connected to the internet and other things. But think about that. It allows both the supervisors and the workers on site who are managing these machines to essentially do whatever they want with the votes, in addition to the fact that they're connected to the internet and obviously very easily hacked, and so could be being controlled or manipulated by people who are not even the official workers or the supervisors. Is that how you want your election handled? Do you want the votes counted by Venezuelans controlled by the Chavistas? Or should the votes be counted here in the U.S. and free from manipulation? Well, we're not going to get to the COVID study, really, but suffice it to say, the total deaths from COVID matched the exact number of decrease in total deaths from other causes at the same time. So magically, all the COVID deaths disappeared from other causes from the standard. We'll see you next week, folks. I'm Morgan Streetman. That's the way I see it. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.